Welcome to part 7 of the making of a Japanese Shoji screen. In this part you'll see how I fit the tenons to the mortises. First of all, cuts are made with my Japanese Dozuki saw across the corners of the tenon. The tenons have to be rounded on the corners because the mortises, having been made by a router bit, have rounded corners. As you can see, this is done with a chisel initially. A rasp is then used to complete the rounding. And using the rasp in this way, you'll see is done at various times as I reduce the size of the tenon. The ends of the tenon are also rounded to make them easier to fit into the mortise. Now I'm using shoulder plane. This is a plane I made myself out of brass about 3 decades ago. It's a very nice tool and perfect for this job. Fitting a tenon into a mortise is by trial and error. This one took a particularly long time. They don't usually take as long as this one takes, but you can't rush it. You have to do it a little bit at a time because you want a very, very tight fit. And I continue watch the line up to make sure that the tenon is done square so that it sits in the mortise squarely, and that way the sides of the frame are on the same plane. It takes much longer to fit a tenon than it does to cut it on the saw. You can't quite see what I'm doing there, but I'm checking with the vernier, digital vernier, that the sides are even and that there's the right amount of clearance at the back so that the end of the frame, the rail, will line up at the bottom of the stile. And that's a critical dimension. It's not always easy to tell which side of the tenon is actually needs to be trimmed. One indication is as you push it in you'll see the marks on the tenon made by the mortise, and that can give you an indication of which side is, or sides need to be trimmed to get the tenon to fit neatly. Having a very solid bench is important when you're doing this sort of work, and my bench is very, very solid. It's getting close, but it's not there just yet. So slowly creep up on it. There is a temptation to take off too much, and you don't want to do that. It's best to do it just gradually, creep up on it. It's very close now. And this is where I have to re-round the corners because I've taken off some of the material from the cheeks of the tenon, and that therefore reduces the rounding. There's always a little bit left in the corner because the plane doesn't get quite into there, and therefore it has to be removed with the chisel and slightly undercut, as is done with the dovetails, to make sure that there's a very good fit. At the end of this video, you'll see this much better in a close-up shot of what I'm actually doing here. The important thing is to have a very sharp chisel. I deliberately left the whole of this sequence in because I think it's important to show that it's not a quick job. It's best to let it take whatever time it takes to do it properly. And now you can see exactly what I was doing in close-up. Moving the inside against the tenon, right in the corner between the shoulder and the tenon itself. You just start just inside the edge and push into the center and remove that. It doesn't matter if you remove too much, because it's not going to affect the tenon strength, mortise and tenon joint strength, but it is important that you remove and get that clean inside there so that the tenon will go completely into the mortise. It won't be held up. Thank you for watching.